Hello there, I'm Kevin Parson, and as you probably have noticed over recent weeks, we've been doing a series of online video chats with local businessmen, people, local sort of heroes, champions, people who are really involved in the community. Today, I'm really pleased to have with me Andrew Yager. I know Andrew really well because he's my former GP. He retired 2 or 3 years ago, but he now seems to be busier than ever. Andrew, good morning.
Morning, Kevin. Morning to you. Lovely to hear from you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, well, thanks for coming on to our online chat. As I was saying, so obviously, you retired as being a GP, but I understand you're now even busier than ever in sort of a new, not a new walk of life, but certainly you've gone around the corner and doing something else, and perhaps you'd like to tell everybody a little bit about it.
Yes, that's right, Kevin. So yeah, I was a GP at Bottersdale, and I formally retired last year, finishing completely. But over the last 5 years, 10 years, I've been working in the cancer realm within West Suffolk and Suffolk, and working for Macmillan and also the NHS and the West Suffolk CCG, the West Suffolk Commissioning Group. And my role within that is to try and improve patients' cancer pathways throughout East and West Suffolk. And I've been doing that, for that time. And I wanted to come on today and just talk a little bit because with COVID-19, there are certain issues that we're beginning to face with cancer patients at this present time, and I just wanted to talk that through. And Kevin's been very kind and given me the avenue to be able to do that. What we found with COVID-19 over the last few weeks, understandably, people are very fearful about leaving home, and especially going into clinical environments, either in their health centre or in the hospital, and so people are not coming forward or reluctant to come forward with different symptoms on all sorts of issues. But within the cancer field, we've found, certainly locally, and it's borne out nationally as well, that about our normal cancer referrals have dropped to about a third. So we now have, we're concerned that there are 2/3 of the normal people are out in the community who are frightened and fearful to come forward with cancer symptoms. And the longer this goes on, two things. Firstly, if people do have cancers, their cancers could progress during this time. And so when they do present, there'll be later stage cancers, which are more difficult for the patient, obviously, and more difficult to treat. And secondly, when we do get our services back up and running, which we're doing at the moment, it's just going to present with more and more of a tidal wave of patients, and it'll slow our ability to deal with these patients down. So I really wanted to come on today just to say to people, please, if you have any cancer symptoms, such as a lump or blood in your poo, blood in your pee, if you've got a prolonged cough for 2 or 3 weeks, and you've got anything that's unexplained or unexpected that you can't understand, and it's been going on for a few weeks, few days, few weeks, don't delay, come forward, because we need to see you now. See your GP. The GPs, the primary care, has undertaken a massive change. They're trying to triage people as much as possible remotely now, and they're doing a really good job of this. They're busting a gut to do that. Sometimes it's with telephone, sometimes with video link, but if patients need to be seen, there are safe environments for them to be seen in their GP practice, but also in the local hospitals. The hospitals of West Suffolk, Norwich, Ipswich have worked hard to try and designate clean areas and COVID areas within those hospitals. And they've gone so far, which has been a great initiative. They've started to use the private sector, so the BMI in Bury, the Nuffield in Ipswich, the Spire in Norwich have all been designated now clean hospitals for patients to go to. A lot of cancer patients are going to be progressed through those clean areas within that private sector to try and get clean hubs within the health service. So the health service is working really hard to try and facilitate treatments for non-COVID patients. And at the moment, the West Suffolk is coping really well with this COVID crisis. I get daily reports on how the beds are being used. And certainly up until yesterday, the West Suffolk was it was over half full, but it's not bursting at the seams. They're coping really well, as are Ipswich and as are Norwich. So,
and I think, Andrew, I think that's really interesting, isn't it? That everybody thinks that because of obviously the COVID crisis, that everywhere is full, and that if I wanted a bed or wanted to go and see somebody, it would be a long wait. But that's not the case at all, as you're saying. Sort of, there's adequate facility for anyone who's having symptoms of anything can still go along and see someone to be treated.
Yes, that's right, and they've been working really hard to try and do that. In some ways, they have cancelled routine work, but that doesn't apply to cancer work. So cancer, Simon Stevens, the head of the NHS, and Callie Palmer, the clinical director for cancer for the NHS, stated a couple of weeks ago, as far as they are concerned for cancer patients, it's business as usual. We want people to come along. The other thing I didn't mention is that because of there needs to be safe distancing within hospital, and we do need to try and make things as safe as possible. It has made diagnosis like CT scans. So after every patient, scanners are being cleaned. After every investigation, there are procedures being done to keep the environment as safe as possible, which is great, but it does mean that things are a bit slower. So our capacity to undertake scanning and endoscopy, colonoscopy, different procedures that we would be able to normally crank through really quickly in a session, it's probably been reduced by 2/3 of the time, because the rest of the time is trying to ensure that the environment is really clean. So for that reason, don't delay your symptoms, because if you delay your symptoms, when you get in the system, you will be progressed through, but it may be a bit slower. So it would be a double whammy to leave it and then get progressed through the system a little bit slower. Yeah. So, but please come forward. That's my message today.
And I think sort of obviously, you see that because people don't like change quite often, and with the local health centres, they're also, as you're saying, they're triaging before people go. And a lot of people are saying, well, perhaps I'll just leave it a little bit longer. And I think perhaps they're just worried about sort of contracting COVID-19 because of, seeing someone in the surgery, and because obviously everybody usually goes in there, sits in the waiting room, and that's not the case now. Is that right?
No, that is not the case. There's social distancing in the surgeries, and the old days of going in and having a chat and a coffee are not, have gone for the moment. I mean, we'd love to see it back, but for the moment they've gone, and we've got to be really mindful to make sure that the patients who come down really need to come down, because we don't want to bring people down unnecessarily. But that doesn't mean to say that people shouldn't come forward to at least have a conversation or a video consultation with their GP about something that is worrying them. It is important. Otherwise, as I say, we're going to face problems in the summer, autumn time with a huge number of late presenting problems and late presenting cancers, which would be a tragedy.
Yeah, and I suppose obviously we're talking primarily about the cancers and everything, Andrew, but I guess that also includes other sort of underlying issues as well, sort of in health issues and others.
Yes, that's right. The other underlying, yes, that's right, absolutely. And it was interesting in the figures I was looking at for last week in the West Suffolk. It actually, for the non-COVID patients, the number of patients occupying beds had gone up. So people are coming forward with the things that are worrying. This wasn't cancer. It was all range of things. Because certainly when we went into lockdown, I think there were the reports of people with heart attacks and strokes who are, again, not coming forward. But I think people are beginning to come forward anyway a bit more now, across the board, which needs to happen. Otherwise, we're going to face further problems down the line.
Yeah, right. And I think you also have some, if people are concerned or they want to just talk to someone, I think you do have some contact details.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. What we have at West Suffolk, and this is for patients who are in the West Suffolk area who go to the West Suffolk. This is for cancer patients who are already received their diagnosis, maybe this year, maybe last year, and are worried. We have 3 navigators, a navigator service, and they are people who are based in West Suffolk Hospital, but they go out to the localities. So here in North Suffolk, up in Bottersdale, we have a navigator called Lindsay, and she goes to the practices, or she did before COVID-19, and she contacts patients and tracks them through and deals with any social problems, any psychological problems, any anxieties, any problems with getting through the system, helping with scans, helping with appointments. She helps with those myriad of problems that cancer patients are faced with. But what we've found in the last few weeks, despite the number of cancer patients going through dropping, we've found the calls to our navigators has doubled. So there's a huge amount of anxiety out there with cancer patients, and they don't know really who to talk to. And I suspect a lot of them are sitting at home and worrying. There's nothing worse than when you're progressing along with the cancer patients. It's the waiting that is almost the worst thing of all. It's the waiting for the next scan. It's the waiting for your treatment. It's waiting for the chemotherapy, and it can chip away at your well-being. And these navigators are here to help the psychological and process problems that can bring to cancer patients. And so we'd really urge people to contact our navigators, and the number is, and I'll give you the number, and you can contact them direct. They have a phone, 9 to 5, and they have an answer phone. So if you want to contact them, is there any cancer patients out there who would like to contact them within West Suffolk, please do. And their number is 01284 713 595. 01284 713 595. Now, I know, Kevin, I'm talking about West Suffolk here, but we also, you have a wide range of clients, and your business spreads wide. So the Big C in Norwich also has similar navigators up in Norwich, and they will help, as do the Macmillan Information Centres at Ipswich and at Colchester. So again, there are ways to get some help with these problems, and the navigators in the information, the data we've got back, you'd be surprised how many people ring up the navigators with social and financial problems. If you have a cancer diagnosis, any cancer diagnosis, it puts your risk of unemployment up by 37%. That's just a national fact, and that's probably going to be worse now. So our navigators will help you trying to navigate through financial problems, and Macmillan can help with that as well. So please come forward, and if you've got a problem, come forward and speak to our navigators.
Andrew, I think that's going to be really useful for a lot of people, certainly in the area, and we'll be sharing this sort of throughout a lot of the community groups. And if you know Andrew, or you know someone who might have had a symptom or has put it off, please do urge them to contact their local health centre or GP. And of course, if you'd like to make any comments below about sort of anything, or like to a private telephone call, we are putting sort of numbers on the screen, and will that be in the captions as well? Please don't hesitate to contact us. And in the meantime, Andrew, I'd really like to thank you so much for your time, and hopefully we can get this appeal out to as many people as possible. And also, because we're filming this actually on Bank Holiday Friday, that's a different term, of course, Bank Holiday Friday.
Yes.
So hopefully everybody is enjoying their VE Celebrations Day. And Andrew, thanks so much. And hopefully that will help a lot of people out there.
Well, Kevin, thank you for giving me this vehicle to promote those couple of messages. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So if you know anyone else who is a local business person, champion, hero, who's trying to help the community, and you think they should be involved in one of our chats, then please do nominate them. You can send me a Facebook message service, Facebook Messenger, or you can actually send me a telephone WhatsApp, or of course an email. So thanks for watching, and look forward to seeing you soon.